Okay, the PCA machine, I've been wanting to make a video on how to work this for quite some time. Of course, it will have to be plugged in to electricity because the battery does not last on this thing at all. This machine has instructions everywhere. Real easy to figure out. Just in case you get lost, again, instructions over here, both sides of the PCA, and then a little booklet that's also hanging on the PCA. So you will need the key, which your faculty can get for you out of the office drawer. In order to turn this on or to do any changes to the settings, you have to have this key in there. And it shows you on the diagram to unlock. And it may not. Okay, yeah, it's gonna work. So you also have your syringe of medicine. In order to for this to work, we just put regular water in it, and this barcode has to be turned so it can be read. And then the screen pretty much tells you again what to do. Never click on system settings. We don't need to mess with system settings. Continue. So it's letting you know that everything was cleared. Now it's saying that it can't read that barcode. So we'll turn the syringe. Okay. So before I've taken it out, put it back in again. So to put one in that's all the way full, this is the best way to do it. And you won't have to deal with this, but faculty will. Once you get it in there, you squeeze and set it down. So it has to click into this base down here. Okay, so we want to confirm a custom file. So we're just going to click on confirm. Do we want to purge? Purge just means prime. So yeah, we want to prime the tubing. In order to do that, you got to hold the button down next to the purge, and it tells you purging, purging, purging. And you're going to do that until you see all the air get out of your tubing down to this Y site, because this is where your primary tubing connects to this PCA tubing. So whatever your primary IV fluid is, you have to have a primary IV fluid to go with this. Okay, so once you see it all the way primed, then it's going to ask, is it complete? Choose yes. And now it wants you to connect the set to the patient, but you don't have to, just because we want to make sure this gets confirmed by 2 nurses. So this is in milligrams. And then the drug concentration, depending on where you're at St. Francis, morphine and Dilaudid is 1 milligram per mil. So you just type in the 1, hit enter, and then we want to confirm. That's 1 milligram per mil. Do we want to set a loading dose? So if the physician has ordered a loading dose or a bolus dose, then if that patient is hurting, I'd say if their pain's a 5 or above, then you want to make sure they get that. So we're going to say this is morphine and the doctor ordered 1 milligram. So hit enter. It doesn't tell you to hit enter on the screen, so just kind of know if the option you're looking for isn't there, probably need to hit the enter button. Do we want to deliver the loading dose now? No, the patient's pain's a 5, and I want to get it confirmed by another nurse because I don't want to give too much. So we'll deliver later after we're done setting it up. For this patient, they also have a basal. So they have a basal and a bolus setting, and it's similar to insulin. So we're going to do PCA and continue. Okay, so we're going to put in our PCA dose. This is how much the patient gets every time they push the button. So 1 milligram, and the physician said that they could have that every 15 minutes. Okay. Now it wants to know what that basal or continuous rate is, and that's how much they're going to get whether they push the button or not. And we'll say the physician ordered 2 milligrams. So we hit enter. Do we want to set a dose limit? And that just means how much they can have in 1 hour. And then this machine asks for 4 hours. So if they can have 2 basal and then 1 every 15, that would be 5 milligrams in 1 hour. Like I say, this machine says 4 hours. So that would be 20 milligrams that they could have. So when you get to this screen, it'll focus. This is when you need your second nurse to confirm your settings. So she looks at the orders, compares it with what's the setting, and confirms it, or you reprogram if it's not correct. Now, do we want to yes, we want to deliver that loading dose because it's been confirmed by another nurse. And then it tells you on the screen, close and lock the door, press the start button. And that bolus dose will start going in when you hit the start button. Okay, so we're closed, we're unlocked. Zoom back out. We have assessed our IV site. There's no redness, no edema, no leakage, and blood's backing up. And the machine's reminding me, hey, you didn't hit the start button. Okay, so I did my site assessment, we're good. So ideally you do that before you take the IV, the PCA machine in there. So it's delivering that bolus dose, and it usually does it over 1 minute. So this is another reason why you want to wait to the end, not just for safety reasons, but it also delays the amount of time that it takes. So you want to make sure your patient understands the PCA, that they're not going to let anyone else push the button. Of course, you're going to do your 4 Ps, which includes push buttons, personal items. So give them the button and just let them know they can push that every 15 minutes, and they won't be able to push it more often. And it'll beep when they can have some. So that was a triple beep. And because they just got the bolus dose, it actually factors in that every 15 minutes. So it won't be until 15 minutes after the bolus dose, but you want to just make sure that they understand that they're the only ones that touch this button and use this button. So he says, yeah, and I have no family to mess with it. Okay, so kind of you'll have a set of orders when you come to lab to program in.